So in this video, we're going to show you how to publish your novel. And so before we get started, the very first thing you do is you need to make a copy of your edited novel. And so this is actually going to be the second copy you've made of your novel so far. So you should have your original that you've turned in to your teacher. You should have a copy that's the one you did edits on. So after you finish your edits, you're making a second copy of your novel, and that's going to be the one that we use for publishing. And so what we're going to do is after we make that copy, we're going to go ahead and change our name here. So you're going to keep it the last name. So you can see me, I'm changing the name of it. You can change it and it's write published at the end of your last name. So you know, and your teacher knows that, this is the one that we're going to use for publishing. So we need to do a lot of different formatting things to make this work. So when we actually send this to a print publisher, they have a finished document to work with. So our first step is we're going to change the font. And so what we're going to do is we're going to press Control A on our keyboard. So at any time during this video, if you feel like you're falling a little bit behind, feel free to pause the video and rewind and kind of see what I'm doing. So once again, I press Control A, it highlighted all my texts. And in font, we're going to select EB Garamond. I know it's not a fancy font, but this is a font that book publishers like to use. And you can see here that it changed my font to EB Garamond. The second thing we need to do is we need to change out our page size and margins. So if you go up here to where it says File, it brings up a nice little drop down. And we want to find Page Setup. So in Page Setup, in paper size, we want to find Statement, and then we're going to set our margins to 1/2 inch, which is 0.5. So I'll give you a second to look at the screen right here. So remember, paper size is the statement, 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then your margins on the right are going to all be 0.5. Once you've completed this, press OK. And you know you've done this correctly is when you get this nicely formatted document. So next step, what we're going to do is we're going to add some page breaks. So we're going to find out where our chapter titles are. So here I found one, and there's chapter 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert and then Page Break. You can also start to know the keyboard shortcuts. This one's Control Enter. So you might hear me reference a keyboard shortcut, but Page Break, you can either go to Insert and Page Break or press Control Enter. What that does is it'll move everything to the right of the cursor down to the next page. And what we're going to do is we're going to do that for all the different chapter titles here. So I can see another chapter, and you can see I'm not using the drop down, I'm using Control Enter. So I'm going to keep scrolling through the document. You're going to see me do this because it's going to be important at the end to figure out how many total pages this document is. And so we're going to keep finding these things. So as I keep doing this, we just want to let you know how proud and excited we are about these novels that you've created. There's not very many 7th graders in this school or in our county. Oh, so you can see there's some spaces. We want to fix those. If you want to add new paragraphs, put a space in between each paragraph. I'm just doing the chapter titles and any obvious spaces. But I just want to say how proud we are of the fact that you've accomplished such a huge task that I'm sure was very daunting for you when you first heard about it. I know in talking to various print shops, they actually couldn't believe that a group of 7th graders were able to actually write their own novels. They thought it was just some little essay, 5-page essay, and I'm like, no, some of these books are very, very long. So you can see I'm just kind of working my way through this document here. If I knew jokes, I would tell you. That'd be kind of fun. Like why the chicken crossed the road. And some of you are like, what is happening in this video? He is just scrolling through the document and I'm pressing Control Enter every time I find a chapter. Look, Control Enter. I said look, but you can't even see my keyboard, so it's kind of pointless to actually look. Some of you looked and were like, what am I looking at? So I'm almost done. I'm getting so close to being finished this process. This process is a little time consuming. The more chapters you have, the more time consuming it is. So you can see I'm finished here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back up to the top. We have a couple more things left to do on this. So I'm pressing page up. If I hold that button, it's going to take me to the top of my document. So going up. Wish I knew songs too, because that'll make life a lot more fun. But you don't want to hear my singing because it's terrible. So now I'm back to the top of this document. We need to add some pages in here for our cover and our title page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control Enter twice. What that's going to do is it's going to leave space at the top for you to write out your title, and then to add your author So obviously it'd be by you. And then the second page that we created, this is going to be your dedication page. So you want to dedicate it to some awesome and amazing English teacher that you have. You can dedicate it to your parents, whoever you want your dedication page to go to. You're going to type a nice little blurb about it. 2 sentences, 3 sentences would be perfect for that. So you're getting so close to being done here. So what we're going to do is right where it says, right in front of your title, put your cursor there and press Control Enter twice. We're going to create 2 more pages, because what's going to happen is on this first page, this is going to be your cover that you made in Canva. So that is what you're going to do for that is you're going to go to Insert, Image, and then if it's in your Drive, or you can upload it from your computer wherever it's located at. And what will happen is that will show up nice and big right there. And what's going to happen is you're going to leave this second page blank. I'm going to write it here, but do not type it in here. Leave this blank. Don't touch it. So once again, we're getting so close to being done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this document. And I'm going to add 2 pages at the bottom here. Oops, let me actually scroll. Sorry. Scroll in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control Enter once. That's going to be a blank page. So we're going to leave this page blank. I'm going to press Control Enter a second time. This is the place for your back cover. So if you have a front cover and you have a back cover. And so there's going to be a couple little formatting things we're going to have to do to play around with this document. So you can see here that this document is 34 pages, I think is what I saw. So the key to printing this document, getting this document to print right, is that your page number has to be a multiple of 4. So back in math class, the multiples are 4. So you can have 4 pages. You can have 8 pages. You can have 12, 16. Oops, I put a decimal. Wrong one. 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, and it keeps going on and on and on. So notice that 34 is not a multiple of 4. So we have to do a little formatting. And so the book can either be now 32 pages or 36 pages. So some tips to try to figure out the length in the pages or to shrink them is what you can do is you can highlight your text by pressing Control A, and you might change your font size, maybe 1 up to 12. So if I do that and make it 12-point font, you can see now that my document now is 43 pages. So I might have to go back and change some of the spacing throughout this. So that might be an option here. So you can go through and figure out, okay, can I get to 44 pages? So you might play around with some of those things. You don't want to go anything past, let's try 13. Let's see how a 13-point font looks. I think 13-point font might be a little too big. Here, actually made it 44 pages. So it actually gave us the right amount of pages. So you can go up to 13-point font, but 13-point font really is going to be the biggest size that you want to go with. But you want to make sure that after you change your fonts, you notice that there's random blank pages. You want to make sure that you fix that, so that way the only blank pages there should be the ones that we've stated in the beginning and at the end for your front cover. So you can see now I went to 43, but you can kind of go through and play with that. Another way you can play with it is if you press Control A again, you can play with line spacing. So line spacing right now is set to 1.15. You can do custom line spacing. So you might make this 1.2. Go up in like really small increments. Maybe that would make it just long enough. Let's see where we're at now. So sometimes it'll flash. Right now, I'll put it to 44. And so if I was done, 44 pages, we're perfect right now. The last and final step is we need to make this a PDF document. So we're going to go to File, and then we're going to go to Download As, and you have lots of options. So you have Microsoft Word, you have rich text, open document, that's an old school format, but we want PDF document. So when we go ahead and click on that, what will happen is it should download it when the internet wants to love me. So it'll download this as a published PDF document, in which case then you're going to go ahead and upload it to your Google Classroom. So once again, follow these steps. If you're stuck, lost, or confused, of course, pause, rewind, or you can find a teacher in the classroom, one of the adults in the room, be able to help you out with this. But this is my tutorial video about how to take your NaNoWriMo novel and make it so that way you can be ready to publish it into a physical book.